Howdy, friends and floor heads. Welcome to another Saturday Call of Cthulhu, episode 4 of our run at the Mr. Corbitt scenario that is from the Mansions of Madness, Volume 1 from Chaosium. We, this is going to shock you, ended on a cliffhanger. But before we get started, I want to do something I don't often do, which is give myself a shout out. Today is actually the 3rd year anniversary of the podcast, which is one of the kind of the landmark first things that we did out of Third Floor Wars. So 150 plus episodes, over 120 different guests. And yeah, so if you don't listen to Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars, you should. All right, let's get started. As we normally do, we start off with a completely black screen. And as we fade in, we start with the front porch of Miss Harriet Hart's home, who happens to live right next door to Mr. Corbitt. And standing at her front porch, we see Siobhan and Chip.
Chip sort of, we kind of walk up the steps there onto her front porch, and he kind of steps off to the side and gestures Siobhan to, I guess, knock on the door, since she actually lives here.
Yep, delicate rapping or doorbell or knockers, however this goes.
So you knock on the door, and you hear just a minute. And then opening the front door is somebody that you both have met before, because she's actually become a good friend of Aunt Sarah. So Mrs. Rebecca Wallace opens up the door, who's Miss Hart's caretaker. She goes, "Oh, well, Siobhan, how are you?"
Oh, I'm doing quite well. I'm terribly sorry about the time. Just got a little bit of a error, you know how Auntie is. About making some introductions.
Oh, okay. Well, here, come in. So she gestures you in. You come into the home, and it, if you had closed your eyes as you'd walk into this home, you would immediately know an old person lives here. Because if you've ever been to a house, sometimes that it just smells like old person. You can't put your finger on it. It smells like old person. And you walk in, but to Miss Harriet's credit, she keeps a gorgeous home. The furniture, you can tell, has been collected over time, and just gorgeous pieces of furniture. Siobhan, though, the art on the wall is not necessarily the style of art that you enjoy. You appreciate the fact that they're all originals, right? There's something to be said for that, being some form of an art lover. And Miss Wallace gestures you over to the sitting room, which Miss Harriet has in her home. And would you like some tea, coffee?
It's kind of a sly look over at Chip.
We could do a cup of coffee.
Wonderful. I'm going to go upstairs, see whether Miss Harriet is up for visitors, and then I'll be right back. And we see Miss Wallace leave. We then smash cut back outside. It's dark out. And standing in front of the Corbitt home, we have Ashanti and Vaco. And just before Vaco and Ashanti noticed a woman appearing to peer out of the top left window of the Corbitt house. She vanished away. And then a few minutes later, we saw her again peeking through the window, this time the top right window on the second floor. And both Vaco and Ashanti got a much better look at her. Despite how dark it is, the moon is out. And the thing that struck them was just the absolute look of terror that they could tell was on this woman's face. And as soon as she saw them, she immediately closed the curtain and vanished.
So, do we call the police or handle this ourselves? Because last
Are we going in through the front or the back?
Okay, I guess we're going through the back.
Yes,
So
it's
you guys-
probably easier to break down that door.
All right, so you guys head around back. Ashanti, as you head around back, you see the greenhouse again. Yeah, you notice immediately the door is closed. You notice the lock that Chip was able to break off just several weeks ago is back. Brand new lock is there. I would love to know, though, after what happened there and the time that's passed, what is it like to be here and to see that house?
Ashanti is not one to be fearful, but there's something in his stomach that's telling him to run. He knows he can't. He knows he has a job to do, but there's a chill in his spine. The hairs on the back of his neck standing up, and there's just something in his stomach that tells him to run. So when he sees it, he just pauses for a split second, and all that fear just comes rushing in like a dam just burst.
So you guys work your way to the back. Now, note that there's been no lights on. So the front porch light is not on. Mr. Corbitt's car was not in the drive. You come around back to the back door, a door that you saw the last time you were here in the backyard.
I'll go in and first knock on the door, see if someone comes to open.
So we see Vaco. Mr. Corbitt's got kind of a small, like four or five steps that lead up to a very tiny little back deck, and you climb up there and you knock on the door. Curtains covering the window in the back door as well, so there's no way to see inside. 15, 20, 30 seconds pass. You hear nothing, see nothing.
Is the door open?
The door is closed.
But is it locked?
So you reach down to the handle and you turn the handle, but it's stopped. So it is obviously locked.
Yes,
I am
rattling
looking
the door
around.
is the next step.
What was that?
Seeing if
Ashanti?
I said I'm just looking around to make sure that no one is like watching us. And I also have pulled out my pistol since we walked past the greenhouse. I pulled out my pistol and held it to the side. So, no. At least I have it out when something happens.
Sure. And Vaco, after checking the door is locked.
Let's see if I can like rattle it open. If that doesn't work,
Let's do this. Let's give me a hard strength check.
a hard strength check. Let's see if I get this to work. Strength. Hard. Roll. Nope.
All right,
Not
55.
with hard difficulty.
So you shake it, and it's not bolted. It's definitely just the doorknob mechanism there that's locked. So you didn't get a sense that there's any other locks or a deadbolt or anything. But too much for you to put just your weight behind it.
Well, I guess I'm taking off my jacket. I'm putting it against the window. Then I'm grabbing my billy club and breaking the window.
So we see you do that, Vega. We see you put the jacket up, and I don't know necessarily what Ashanti thinks, but one impression you do get, Ashanti, is that this may not have been the first time Vaco's done this. He seems very familiar with it, and he takes the back of that billy club and he pops that window. We hear the pane crash, and we hear it crash to the floor. And as we do that, we cut back to Miss Harriet's house. And coming down the steps, being assisted by Miss Wallace, is a gaunt woman. She may be 5'1", so not particularly tall, rail thin, though in a very nice house coat. And for a woman who was either getting ready for bed or maybe even been in bed, her hair is still done. You can see she might have taken a moment to put on a little bit of makeup. And, for a woman who's in her 80s, especially in the 1920s, she's moving okay, but obviously the stairs are still a bit of a challenge. And Miss Rebecca walks her over. The two of you are on the couch in the sitting room. She moves to a chair that is obviously where she sits, and she sits down and she goes, well, Siobhan, it's late, but it's awfully nice to see you. And I assume that this is that Chip boy that Sarah keeps talking about.
Yes, thank you so much for seeing us at the late hour, and very much appreciate the warm welcomes. But as you mentioned, my auntie may have done some discussion about our man Chip over here. So she thought it might be prudent to at least for the night send you off with a little bit of a cap. And while that's taken care of, I also had a little bit of my own worm going about, but I'm just curious about something.
Well, let me see if I can help. And Chip, your reputation precedes you. This being late at night, you wouldn't have happened to have stumbled on some sherry maybe in the front yard, or
I might have found some out in the garden.
how fortuitous. She motions to Rebecca, and Rebecca comes over, and you noticed it, but now it's centerpiece, right? Because Miss Rebecca goes over, and it's just this wood inlaid, gorgeous bar. And it's glass up top with all kinds of different bottles. They're all empty, being, of course, the times that it is. Below that are just these beautiful sets of glasses. And you can tell from Miss Harriet that she insists that you have the right glass for the right drink. So Miss Rebecca opens up the cabinet and she reaches for one glass and says, no. Sherry, 2 down. Yes, there you go. So she pulls out 3 of those glasses. Miss Harriet goes, oh, Rebecca, it's late. You're welcome to join us. And she kind of gestures that she's not interested. And she brings a glass to both Chip, Siobhan, and of course, Miss Harriet. And then she walks over to you, Chip, and just kind of stands there.
Yeah, Chip will. He's got it in his in the inside of his coat. He pulls out a little flask, and pours up all 3 glasses, and then sort of just takes it and puts it sort of off to the side, down off out of the way that you can't see it right away, but obviously just leaving it here for safekeeping. And
I love it. So Rebecca goes, Harriet, is it okay if I? Oh no, of course. Please goes to bed. So Rebecca leaves, and as Harriet takes her sherry glass, she kind of gives you and takes herself a sip. So, Siobhan, you said you had questions?
Sort of, it's a little, embarrassing. And like there's a look over at Chip of, trying to put this on so hard. I just, not a lot of people have really been talking about this, but since I've been here, I've been, especially after his produce, I've been rather taken with Mr. Corbitt, and no one seems to know much about him, and everyone said that you're probably the best person to talk to, and well, thought I'd take the opportunity.
Siobhan, have you told your aunt about this? She has been worried sick about you.
I get the impression that she expects me to live the life of a spinster for until my dying day, but
So she kind of, a little under her breath, but to make sure everybody in the room, including Chip, can hear it, she goes, the key is to marry and outlive them. But Siobhan, I would love to tell you about Mr. Corbitt. We cut to Vaco pulling the billy club out, putting the jacket down. The lower right-hand pane near the doorknob is now gone.
Good. I'll check with the billy club that there aren't any sharp edges before I put my hand through to unlock the door.
Now I'm wondering if Klaas has done this before. So we see
I will never admit to it.
we see Veko reach his hand in, go down, and with just a flick, you're able to undo the lock, and the door is unlocked for the two of you.
Well, I open it.
Open it.
Yep.
All right. So you open it, and of course it's dark. It does open into the moonlight, kind of spills in a little bit. What appears to be a mudroom. You can see a set of boots on the bottom right against the wall, as well as maybe a gardening outfit of some sort. There's an apron. You can see in the apron there's some tools like a trowel and a small shovel and like a de-weeding tool. You see mud caked on the boots themselves. On the other side of this tiny mud room, there's another door which is closed. There's no window on that door.
So do you want to go open it or shall I?
You go open it. I got your back.
Well, I'll go open it.
I keep the pistol.
So Veko, you open the door. And now, unfortunately, you're far enough into the house where the moonlight is not providing a whole lot of assistance. But you can see it opens to a hallway. And the hallway obviously extends down the entire center of the home. Because you can also see the room that you were in several weeks ago when you decided to pay Mr. Corbitt a visit. You can see the door, the front door, but now from the inside. And there's enough light coming through the curtains there that you're able to kind of piece together. Now, down the left-hand side, there's a series of entryways. On the right-hand side, you see what you assume to be this basement door that you have been fixated on as well. Also, you can also see where there's a staircase leading to the second floor. Let's cut back to our conversation with Miss Harriet. Well, Siobhan, what can I tell you? He would be a prize. He's wealthy, self-made. Now is in a situation where, he could be the beginnings And I think you would make lovely children.
Just cringing, dying internally, putting on the face of like.
When Siobhan originally says that she's interested in him, you can just see it on Chip's face, but he cleans up his face before Miss Harriet looks at him, and then he's kind of just really agreeing with her on all of this stuff. This lady's nuts. She has no clue who this guy is.
Well, as someone so experienced, is it simply wealth that one looks for? Wealthy children.
Wealthy children.
So what would you like me to do? An introduction? Would you like me? Siobhan, I think this is wonderful news and I'm glad to hear it. But at 11 o'clock at night, I wasn't necessarily expecting this to be the conversation.
Of course. I was more, what sort of introductory gifts does one get for such a man of such future wealth, and when might be an appropriate time to gift those?
I had no idea you were so progressive, Siobhan. Normally, I would expect the man to be giving gifts, but I think this is a new century and a new time. And I think that that's wonderful that you feel confident as a woman to be able to take these steps. And quite frankly, I have to say, being such a handsome young lady, that I think that just a bit of attention from you would get Mr. Corbitt's attention, though I do wonder a little. He seems funny. I've yet, since his wife passed, I've never seen him date nor bring a woman over. I will say, of course, that he has some sort of appointments on Sundays. He regularly leaves on Sundays, sometimes coming home late at night. So I would assume he's either a drinker or a gambler, or maybe he has a young lady that he spends time with. As far as gifts, Siobhan, I think that probably the most appropriate thing is pay attention to the man. Maybe come over, borrow some sugar, thank him for some gift of some sort, and just, you are awfully charming. I can't expect he wouldn't want to engage you in conversation.
Miss Harriet, speaking of gifts, that produce and garden that he has back there, it's, I've only been over here with Siobhan. We've been friends for a while, but only since she's been staying here a couple times. But my God, it's insane. How does he do it?
It's the oddest thing, because you are right. The quality of the vegetables and fruits, even out of season, that comes from that garden, and he's so generous bringing it around. He brought me a box not but 3 days ago. The tomatoes as big as your fist. But here's what's odd, and here's what's funny about this conversation with Miss Harriet is you can tell she's dying to talk, right? She wants to say everything, but she puts on this air of trying to also appear that she's being discreet. So every time you can tell she's telling you something that she's been wanting to tell anybody that would listen, she does this odd kind of, even though it's just the three of you in the room.
Also needs like a little bit of coaxing, like an excuse to go through all the stuff. Yeah.
I don't understand it, Chip, but he only gardens at night. He spends all sorts of time in that greenhouse, and I don't know enough about gardening, whether the greenhouse allows him to grow these things year round, and the outside garden, even in the wintertime. I've seen him, or no, I've understood that he would be gardening there in the evenings. Of course, I don't watch him.
No. Clearly, no. We realize that, and it's just so strange. He's not there now, right? Was he? It didn't look like he was home. We were thinking of stopping by, but it didn't look like he was home.
Well, it's awfully late, but I just happened to notice his car wasn't there when I went upstairs. So no, I don't believe he's there, unless since we've talked, he's returned home. Now, where he would be tonight, I don't know. I've never really wrote down his schedule, and if I did, it would be upstairs.
Oh, goodness.
Well, thank you for your candid honesty as she finished her drink.
Siobhan, please keep me updated. And if you would like, I'd be happy to put in the good word when he comes by to visit again. And I expect an invitation. And she finishes the last sip of her drink, and almost at every sip was just acknowledging Chip and his generosity, and really enjoying it. And can you? I may sit and read for a bit. Can you see yourselves out?
Yeah.
Of course.
Do you need help going back upstairs, or are you good?
No, I think I'm up. I might have Miss Rebecca maybe make me some coffee, but no. I'm Chip, you're such a good boy. No. I'm fine. Thank you. If you could just let yourself out, and I'll get the door later.
Will do.
Mm-hmm. And it fades to black, but we expect it to fade back to light until we kind of realize that all we can see is just the rough shadow of Vaco as he's crossed over into this hallway. Behind him, we see Ashante holding his revolver.
is a miner, so he knows that even in the darkest places, if there is even a smidge of light, you just have to wait a little bit and your eyes will adjust.
And it does to a certain degree, right? Between, you know, the ambient light coming from the back, the ambient light coming from the very front room, it's not like you are, you know, blind by any stretch of the imagination. Details would be difficult, but shapes, objects, walls, furniture, those things you can tell where they are. So by no means are you bumbling across if you were to continue on.
Yes, my plan is that we should go upstairs.
Upstairs. Yeah.
That's where we saw the woman.
I agree. I concur.
Yeah.
I like tap him and point up.
I'll go first.
Great. You guys.
I just talk. Maybe at a little lower voice, but like I don't make any sort of like military signaling. I just talk in a whisper.
So you start down the hallway, Vako, towards the staircase, and Shanti's right behind you, and obviously.
I also check if I happen to see that office that I saw earlier and stuff like this.
Well, that office, if you remember, is kind of off the front area there.
Yeah.
So by all means, you could make your way all the way there, and get directly to the office. There's nothing impeding you from that, though the staircase comes up sooner on the left-hand side. You also pass by the kitchen. It is a beautiful, somewhat modern kitchen for the times. You can see that both a refrigerator, icebox, as well as, you know, a stove, a full stove with an oven, something that is not necessarily as common, except for in a wealthy home such as this. On the left, you can see what appears to be maybe a library, lots of books, a desk. And then you get to the staircase, and the staircase is about halfway down the hall.
Then we'll probably go up first because that's a more pressing matter than going to find some journals. By the way, did we see it when we looked into the kitchen and saw the stove? Is it like a wood stove or a gas stove, or what kind of stove is it? Gas.
Yeah.
Just in case we burn the house down.
Love that question. So you start up the steps, Vako, and you're doing a pretty good job as you go up. Obviously, there is sound as you hit each of these wooden steps. And let's do a little bit of a stealth check, unless we're not too worried about making noise.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to panic the woman that people are invading her home. If that is the case, I think stealth would be a good choice.
Okay, great.
At least a little bit. So do we each do, or?
Yeah, let's each do that.
Okay, Ashanti's
77.
bumbling around.
I'm not stealthy.
It's a regular roll?
Yep, right, just a regular.
Neither are you.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
as you work your way up the steps, you're about halfway up, and it goes up to a landing and then 180s to another series of steps, right? So it's a half story staircase that's tiered. You get up to that first landing, and the camera cuts really close to your right foot as it reaches the landing. It hits the rug, and you hear as the wood board that's obviously loose under it makes a noise. As that happens, you hear a thud from upstairs, like something fell.
Okay, more speed. We've obviously been discovered. No need for stealth anymore. Of course, I'm probably quite winded because I don't have the best condition of my lungs, but we're gonna get it. We're going up.
So you work your way up, and it's, despite the fact this is a very large home, it's not hard to keep your bearings, right? It's not like you're going to get turned around or lost in here. So you have a sense of exactly, where those two rooms are that we saw the lady peer through the windows. So you get up to the top of the landing, again, another hallway, and you can tell off to the left would be the second room where we saw her peer through, and then off to your right would be that first room. Both doors are closed.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the room that we saw her the latest at.
And Ashanti, this whole time is just keeping Vako's back. Is that right?
Yes, and I'm keeping this back, looking around, and just being observant, like consciously observing everything I can in the light, in the darkness that we are in. Like looking to see if shadows move and stuff like that. You know how it is when you're like in the dark, you see a shadow move and you start shooting at it.
Don't give me ideas. So Vaco, you reach the door and you turn the knob. It's not locked. It opens inward. As you open the door, immediately see a bureau to your right, which tells you this is a bedroom. And as the door opens more, there is some ambient light coming from the window in the bedroom, the window where we last saw our woman. You can see a large ornate sitting chair, or like a reading chair that's kind of in front of the window. And then a queen-sized bed off to the left. And Vaco, with the life you've led, I'm not sure you've ever seen a queen-sized bed at any point in your life, let alone one with a headboard and footboards. The bureau.
This is obviously a bed for 12 people.
Oh, the whole family sleeps here. Where's your golden ticket, Charlie? As you open the door, behind like the high back chair of the reading chair, you see two hands, and it looks like they're holding the back of the chair by somebody who's behind it. So imagine someone like, holding on to a bar or something like that. The hands are wrapped around, and as you enter, you see a woman's head slowly reach up, comes up to about her nose. From what you can tell, because she's backlit, so it's really hard to kind of know exactly. What you can tell, she appears to be brunette, hair long enough that it's going beyond which is visible on the back of the chair. And you can see, like I said, from about the nose down, you can see the two hands. And it startles you. It stops, though she's being very, very careful and very slow in the process of just kind of peeking up. As we cut to the front porch of Miss Harriet's, we see both Siobhan and Chip leaving.
Yeah. Siobhan's going to step a little bit away and then just... I need to stop lying. This is terrible.
Yeah, that was bad.
She bought it, so... Since she bought it, my only hope now is that either tonight Corbitt dies or is arrested, and then I won't have to deal with the implications of what has been said.
Yeah, I mean, under normal circumstances, maybe, like it could be a good fit, but
Don't.
the more that we learn.
This is phenomenal.
What do we do now? Like, they must be in the place. That's all distracted and taken care of.
I guess let's head back to your house and maybe just hang outside by the car. Like talk and watch.
You got flashlight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if someone comes around, maybe accidentally, since we're talking outside, the flashlight moves across the front of the house to maybe warn someone that someone is coming. That seems like
sounds good.
All right, so we see two very responsible people leaving the house. We see Chip and Siobhan cross the road, get over to the car, lean up against it, flashlight ready, just watching the front of the Corbitt house.
Anything we can see from the outside?
No, it's as you left it, and of course you have I don't know. Well, remind me, because it's been a little while. Did you guys know about you guys knew about the head through the window, or no?
I was told about it. I don't remember if Chip saw it or not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think I don't think I actually saw it, but I was told that somebody was up there.
Yeah, that's what I remembered. Is the two of you were told, and then were sent to Miss Harriet to get information and also provide a distraction, so she didn't see them going into the house. That's right. So obviously, I would also expect the two of you to be keeping very close eyes on both of those windows where Vaco and Ashanti claimed that they saw the woman. Speaking of the woman, we see her peeking out from behind this chair, Vaco. Ashanti, you can see over Vaco's shoulder and see the same.
I kind of probably get kind of startled and see if there's a light switch I can turn on.
There is.
I ask, who are you?
And
I hide my pistol too. Like I don't keep the pistol out. I like kind of put it behind me and ask her, who are you?
And I'm almost imagining both Ashanti and Vaco as you say that, Ashanti, you're almost holding your breath. That's how quiet things get as you kind of communicate with her. And it's quiet enough that though she doesn't answer, you hear fast, shallow breathing coming from her. So she doesn't appear to be at all relaxed.
We're not here to hurt you. We were looking for Mr. Corbitt. What's your name, miss?
She's just looking around. You can't see below the. She's still keeping most of her face hidden, and she's very focused on you, but it seems to be just eyes jutting around the room.
Okay, let's look around the room. Ceiling, behind the bed, under the bed.
Do you speak?
Where are the other 12 people?
So Ashanti, you say, do you speak English? Again, she doesn't respond. So Vaco, we're going to kind of like check behind the bed and just kind of see if there's anybody else in the room. So Vaco, go ahead, Ashanti.
I'm just going to say, while he's doing that, I'm just going to slowly approach her, like a step every 30 seconds and keep asking her, what's your name, where you're from?
And it gets almost rhythmic how you do that, Ashanti, being very careful, very particular as you're closing the distance. And Vaco, you kind of go off to the left, so you're really not closing the distance with this chair with a woman behind it. And a couple things happen real quick, Ashanti, as you're slowly moving closer. One, in a split second, you're kind of looking at the hands and the face, and you can't quite put your finger on it but something looks off. Like there's something wrong about where the hands are, maybe, or how they are relative to the head. And then it all makes sense, because she leaps out from behind the chair. And as she's leaping out from behind the chair, you take in this information, and it comes through in phases of disbelief and reality and disbelief and reality. Vaco, you hear her scream, and which automatically makes your head turn. And what Vaco and Ashanti see is this woman's head launched from behind the chair. And Ashanti, you realize the reason the hands didn't look right is because it appears the arms are attached to the base of her neck.
Oh.
And below her, where you would expect an upper torso, is nothing but this discolored, bulbous flesh sac. Launching through the air, nails out, screaming at you, I need a dodge.
Okay. Oh my goodness. That's like my best skill.
All right, but before we find out what happens, in this split second, you guys all register exactly whatever this thing is. So I need a sand roll from both of you.
Yeah, no.
All right, so Ashanti passes, Vaco does not.
I've seen some things.
Vaco, can you give me just roll a d6 for me? You should be able to do it off the tray at the bottom.
Yeah, let's see. There we go. Oop. The big number 6.
What's your total, San?
60.
So that is 10%. Let's go ahead and mark that down. Let's drop it down. Ashanti, how in God's name are you passing this sanity check? What is going on in Ashanti's mind as this thing is flying towards him?
It's just like I said, I've seen some things. The last encounter we had with something that did not look right has stilled my resolve when going forward facing these types of things. Like I still have the fear in me from passing the greenhouse, but the fear is more so of almost dying. That fear coupled with seeing this something that might kill me again, I'm just stealing myself, and I just keep thinking about my friends, thinking about my family, and I have to keep it together.
All right, so Vaco, I need an intelligence roll.
All right, regular.
Yep. All right, so the good news is, oh, actually, no, I'm sorry, you wanted to fail this, and you didn't. so your memory of this is not going to be suppressed, but you have also lost more than a fifth of your, or no, you've only lost a tenth, so that does not apply. So we're actually good. We have no bout of madness at this point. Ashanti, we need we did not make our dodge roll.
Mm-hmm.
So that means
it was a crit failure too, wasn't it?
Oh, was it really?
No, it wasn't that bad, was it? Well, my dodge is a 65. What you need for a crit fail?
Yeah. What is it? It's not double numbers in this system. What is it?
Was it 95 plus?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. She succeeds. All right. So Ashanti, this thing comes and lands like right at your chin level. You've got this face right here. She is biting at your cheek. Her teeth, you can feel her teeth against your cheek. Her nails crawl and claw right into your back. Go ahead and take 1 damage for me.
Okay.
Where does that put your health?
At 11.
Okay. And she is on you. And the weight of this thing, though she is not a full body thing, she is surprisingly heavy and knocks you back. So Vaco, you see this thing launch and just land on Ashanti's shoulders and face and around his neck, and as he falls back into the hallway. What is your dexterity, Ashanti, and what is Vaco's dexterity?
Mine is 55.
Okay, and Vaco?
I have 55 as well.
So either of you can go.
I'll go. So I'm on my back, correct?
You are.
Okay. I try to push her off me and start shooting at her with the pistol. And I don't stop shooting until she stops moving.
All right. So we're going to do an opposed strength check. We'll roll her strength first. Oh, jeez.
I saw that. There was a 7 there. I saw it. No. You're cheating.
So she got a what? It's not hard. It's after hard. Extreme. She got an extreme success. Let's see yours.
You got this. It's got a 2.
So Ashanti, out of instinct, I'm imagining very quickly your hand gets to her forehead, right, to her face as you feel her teeth on you, and you're pulling her back, and who knows how strong something like this thing is supposed to be, but it's really crazy. Like you fully expected, as a boxer, you'd be able to just throw her like a basketball across the room. And as you pull on it, it wasn't just that her hands are on you. the head muscles and whatever's connected to this bulbous fleshy thing that's now like against your chest, and it's got kind of a mucusy feel against the very top of your neck. You're very surprised that you're not able to pull away, and if anything, she ends up pulling closer to you. Vako?
Oh.
I want to run over and try to grab her from the shoulders and toss her away, if possible through the window, but in that general direction.
Anytime you want to let Siobhan and I know what's going on, run away. Don't
I feel
worry
like a
about
flesh sack falling into the front yard is a pretty good indicator.
So Vako, you run over, and Ashanti didn't really see this, and now that you're closer, you see it. As you reach to grab her shoulders that are her neck or whatever is going on there, you also realize that she's got two other arms that go out the back of her neck as well. So she's got 4 arms. You also notice these arms didn't all come from the same place.
Yep.
You grab onto her, and with Ashanti trying to push away, you grab onto like the 2 forearms that are like latched into his shoulders, and you try to give a yank. Let's do an opposed strength chest. I'll let you go first this time.
That's nice.
Very nice.
Oh, look at that.
So you grab her and you pull. Ashanti, you feel the nails just scrape against your back, and you can feel the wetness of the blood as she's taken some of your skin with her. And Vako, you pull it back, and as soon as she realizes what's happening, her head turns around in a owl-like way and just right into your face. She's going to try to hurt you.
Like all women.
Oh, she had a crit fail. So she screams, and as she lunges towards you, you can see that her teeth either by nature are pointed or are filed down. It's hard to tell, but they're sharp, like lizard teeth. And as she's reaching for you, she's going to go. She's not only is she not going to bite you, Vako. I need some ideas. What would a crit fail look like in this situation? What do you think?
Well, I think like one of the things could be that she like throws her entire weight towards me and doesn't realize at the same time pulling her that way, so she kind of flies at the window.
I'm not going to throw her out the window, but here's what I'll do. She comes at you, and the momentum of you pulling her and her whipping her head around and trying to bite you, she actually ends up flying over your shoulder, right? So in her attempt to attack you, she has now flown herself, and you look and you can see her fall to the bed and roll off to the other side of the bed. I need a spot hidden roll from Siobhan and Chip.
Just as did we get the lights on at any point?
Nice roll, Chip.
Nice.
Part of me wishes that failed.
So Siobhan barely acknowledges that it's dark outside, but Chip, you have just Siobhan's yapping away, talking to you, complaining about and then if Harriet says something to my Aunt Sarah, and you are just laser focused, window to window. And even though you didn't see what was described to you, you know that is where they were talking about. And as you're looking to your right, you notice the curtains sweep. So some sort of activity or something happened off that window, because there's no wind. Obviously, these curtains are on the inside, and that immediately, knowing that your 2 friends are in there, registers that something odd is going on.
Chip is kind of just spaced out a little bit, watching the house as he's listening to Siobhan and stuff, and the curtains go, and he just grabs her arm, and is like pointing up there, like, did you see the curtains just blew, like something's going on. Do we go in after him? Like, I didn't see anything, right? Just the curtains.
Just the curtains.
Do we go in after him? I don't know if that.
You're asking the wrong sort of intrepid hero type here. I mean, yeah, they might. I don't know. You were there last time. You know the sort of thing that happened, and that sounded terrifying. So, I guess we just go over there.
All right. So I'll go into the trunk and grab another flask, and because I might need it, and the shotgun, and then give Siobhan the flashlight, and I guess hustle across the street.
We see you slam the trunk closed, and when the camera didn't see what you were doing in the trunk, but when the trunk slams closed, we see that shotgun in your hand. We see you hand the flashlight over to Siobhan, and as a man with purpose, you start marching, not quite running, but marching towards the Corbitt house. Siobhan, what's your reaction as you're handed the flashlight?
That's definitely like a little stutter step of like, okay, we're doing this, and like, so we're a bit delayed and far less like confident and with purpose, like just kind of following up the back. Flashlight just kind of to the side at the moment because we don't need like, actually no, she'll flick the flashlight across the two windows as like the vain attempt of letting them know that help is on the way.
So Vaco, this thing goes flying over your shoulder, and you turn and you can see it as it rolls onto the comforter of the bed, and then rolls off onto the other side. And there's not a whole lot of space there between the end, the right side of the or left side of the bed, and the wall. And she kind of falls. This thing falls into that. As that happens, you're almost blinded because just like this light comes flashing from the window itself. And as your eyes are adjusting, because they had adjusted to the darkness at that point, and now you've just got or like there's this bright light shines into the window. That's when you see this thing is crawling up the wall. Its four hands are just like a cat, just crawling up the wall itself, dragging like a slug this sack that's at the bottom of where its torso is supposed to be, and you can see the slime that it's leaving as it scurries up the wall. Either Vaco or Ashante can go.
How much did Ashanti fall outside the door or into the corridor, or is he like half and half?
He's half and half.
Okay, I tried to grab Ashanti and pull him out of the door and slam the door shut.
Push, bring him into the room or out of the room?
No, out.
Okay. So Ashanti, you're there. He's ripped this thing off of you, and now he's trying to push you out of the room.
Oh, okay. I will allow it. I'm gonna assist him with throwing me out the room. Like I'm scurrying back, and like I'm trying to keep like still hold my gun, so it's kind of hard for me to like try to get up and get back. Because in all the movies I've seen, everyone always falls and drops their gun, but not me. I'm not dropping my gun.
And Ashanti, as your legs clear, I think it would have been somewhat reasonable for you to think that Vaco would be right behind you, right? And the door just slams. Vaco?
I turn around, looking for the thing. Grab my billy club.
So you turn, and it's not where you last saw it, but you knew where it was headed. And when you look up, you realize that it's now on the ceiling. There's like an outside of the ceiling conduit that runs to the chandelier that's up above the bed itself. And you can see it like a monkey now with its four hands just railing along, headed right for you. It's upside down. Its black hair is straight, falling towards the ground, and it's just screaming and running towards you.
I'm gonna move to try and decoy it into pushing, jumping out of the window.
Okay, so you're able to position yourself. You're there at the window. This thing immediately is like, and it drops to the ground, lands like a cat, and leans up, gets up on its forearms, and just starts running towards you and leaping. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do an attack from her versus your dodge. If you make the dodge, we're gonna do a luck roll.
Okay.
So let's have her go first with her regular difficulty. A regular success, I should say.
I'm not good at this.
Okay.
Nope, very much not good at this.
And you're trying to be clever, Vaco. You're trying to say, okay, if I position myself here, I can get this thing to jump at me, and you kind of positioning yourself back. And not that you have anything to gauge this by, but this thing's faster than you thought. And before you know it, it takes 1/2 second for you to kind of look back, to kind of track yourself, to make sure that you're positioned against the window. You look down, and this thing is up, climbing up your legs onto your chest and just clawing at you. Okay, go ahead and take 1 damage for me.
Ow.
And I need a sanity roll.
Roll. No.
Give me another D6, please. And this is the roll low roll that you want.
Oh, it's always much more fun when you lose all your sanity.
All right, go ahead and drop 4. So now you've lost a total of 10 of your 54. So we are now at 10%. We're not quite at a fifth. Ashanti, you hear this coming from the room on the other side of the door. We cut to Chip and Siobhan. Now, Chip, where are you marching towards? The front door, around the house? Where are we headed?
We didn't see them go in, right?
No.
Probably going up the driveway to check the front door first. And if that is locked, then probably go around back. Because I would have seen a back door when we were checking out the greenhouse system. Yeah.
Yep. So shotgun in your right hand, you're marching up that driveway. You go up this long driveway. The car's not there. You see the garage. You cut over, get onto the front porch with purpose, anticipating it to be locked. You immediately checked. It is locked. You look at Siobhan, indicating it's locked, and you start marching around the other side of the house. Vaco.
Well, now it's on top of me. So.
And you're still standing, so this thing is hanging on you, climbing up you with its claws.
Yeah, I kind of still want to try and shove it out the window.
Okay. All right. So let's do an opposed strength check.
If I have to, I'll go with it.
Okay.
Try to land on it.
You got it.
Oh, I even failed this. Oh, dear.
Oh, boy, she has been rolling.
Yeah.
So Vaco, not only are you're trying, like your hands go down just instinctively, and you keep your club in your hand, but you're trying to stop this thing, and it's moving up way too fast, and you can feel it just digging into your skin. So it's not just grabbing you, it's using you like a cat scratch post and just moving its way up your body. Ashanti, you hear all of this on the other side of the door.
I as fast as I can, I try to get through the door and see what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's unlocked. So you throw the door open, and you see the silhouette of Vaco in the window. Mm-hmm. And you can just tell by the way he's moving, though, even though you can't see this thing because it's still, enveloped by his shadow, you know exactly what's happening.
All right. I try to run over there and throw it off of him.
Okay. All right. So let's do that opposed strength roll. I'll let you go first. Let's see if her streak continues.
Yeah.
What is happening?
My best stat.
So Ashanti, you come over and you grab her, and I need a luck roll.
All right.
This would be a good one to make, or not. You grab her neck area, and you start pulling on her. And Ashanti, this is not a situation. What that roll does not indicate that she is stronger than you, because she is not, right? You are much stronger than her. What this indicates, though, is that you pull her, and apparently she has got a hell of a grip on Vaco. And as you pull her towards you, Vaco comes with her. And you turn and go, and Vaco, your head comes across and hits the foot of the bed. So really, essentially what Ashanti's doing is just swinging the both of you and causing your head to hit the baseboard on there. So go ahead and do a 1d6 for me. Actually,
Sorry,
1d4.
Me or Ashanti?
You, Vaco, 1d4.
1d4.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's trying to give me... there we go. Ha!
Very nice. So take 1 damage from being hit in the head by this thing. Ashanti's just we see it hit the, and now Vaco's on the bed. This thing is on top of Vaco. You're kind of on top of the both of them, though you're still on your 2 feet. And Chip, you come around the corner. You see the door is open. You work your way up very quickly up the back door, and you hear all hell breaking loose upstairs.
As we make our way around the back, because we have all had theories. Siobhan has theories. And as we walk around the back and we go past the garden, I am looking for like whatever he keeps weed killer or like pesticide in as we go across, just to grab something that might help if there's a plant monster.
Give me a luck roll, Siobhan.
This is the one thing that I have succeeded at, so here we go.
So as you're going up the driveway to the garage, you see several large cans, right, of different sizes. And you can tell by the shape and the color, like that's gasoline. So you reach down to grab that and whoop, okay, that's empty. So you throw it to the side. This next one, you see kind of the pesticide sign on it. You reach down to pick that up and, oh, Christ, that's empty too. You toss that to the side and you look around, you see Chip is headed inside the house. We cut up to the battle in the bedroom with Vaco on his back, this thing on top of Vaco and Ashanti on top of it. It's going to be Vaco's go.
Well, now I'm a little bit dazed, I suppose, from having my head slammed into the bed of
your mind's
like a
never
family.
been clearer.
Just rattled.
This could also be true. Well, now I think I have to try and get it off me. I assume that it's not so that I'm on the bottom, this thing's on the top, and then Ashanti's on top of that.
Yeah, so this thing is literally, its weight is on you, right, Vaco, and its hands are clawed. All 4 of its hands are clawed inside of you, and Ashanti is above you guys, right? So Ashanti is still standing. He still has his hands on this thing. But by no means do you have Ashanti's weight in any way, on pressing on her nor on you. All right, let's do the strength test again, starting with you, my friend.
I see. Huzzah! Well,
So Vaco, whether it be the fact that you hit your head, the fact that you really don't want Ashanti to be doing anything more, it's time for you to take some action so you don't get hurt more. You are on your back and you take your billy club and you slide it between the 2 of you. So now you have it on both hands. And with every ounce of chest press from you, just like this. And this thing just scratches as it comes off. And Ashanti, you're pulling this thing. And as you realize what Vaco is doing in that split second. I'm imagining you taking your hands off of her as she goes launching up towards the ceiling.
Mm.
Thanks to Vaco. Vaco, go ahead and roll a 1d4 for me.
Oh.
Very nice. And she hits the ceiling hard. It's this wet, disgusting splat sound as it hits the ceiling and begins to fall down. Chip, you're at the base of the stairs. Siobhan, you're right behind him.
We're going upstairs, I assume. That's where all the noise is coming from.
You head upstairs. You have no trouble. You knew roughly where this thing was going to be. This encounter is going to be where the noises were coming from. You hear it. You come up. You get to the door. And you see Ashanti's back. You see Vaco laying on the bed with his hands outstretched and his billy club between both hands. And you see this thing that obviously just hit the ceiling falling from the ceiling. I need a sand roll from you, and Siobhan, assuming you're right behind him, I'd like one from you as well.
That we can do.
All right.
Both of you do, but I want to know why. So we'll start with you, Siobhan.
The things that like overactive imagination, like of all of the things that Siobhan has been like suspecting after all the descriptions, there's not even a part in the brain immediately anyway. Like later I think this will take more of an effect. Like at the moment, like adrenaline's kind of pumping, and there's this weird moment as this thing just kind of drops, and instead of fear there's just this fascination more than anything. This is something that so few people have seen, and I am bearing witness to it, and that's just fascinating.
And how does Chip keep his head straight in this scenario?
I think it's just adrenaline. He sees it, and his mind is probably trying to put what his eyes are seeing together, and it's just not letting him do it at this point. But he's just going. I'm assuming he sees some scratches, and like not Vaco's not looking in a good spot, that he's just like adrenaline mode. We got to do something, and just kind of pushing it aside for now. Maybe he'll have to deal with it in the future, but for now he's just pushing it aside.
So both of you see this thing, immediately recognize exactly everything that I have described as it lands on the ground, and just like toast with jam, it lands feet first, or hands first on the ground like a spider, and it goes there. I need what is your dexterity, Siobhan? What is your dexterity, Chip?
My dexterity is 65.
Wow. Okay.
Mine is too.
You're both 65.
Well,
Siobhan and Chip get to go. You guys decide between the two of you.
So I don't have anything too combat-y to do, but I think what I can do is like whistle or something to like get its attention, to like have it turn to be like a like that moment of indecision, to make it an easier shot for what Chip's gonna do. Yeah. So
Ashanti, you're startled by this. Vaco, you're still just laying looking at the ceiling at this point. You hear a and not only does this thing's head turn, but Ashanti like turns his back, and Ashanti you immediately see standing there, Siobhan and Chip. Chip?
Cavalry.
I'm hoping that as Ashanti kind of turns around and sees us, he sees me bringing up the shotgun and kind of lets his momentum take him backwards out of the way, and I'm going to try to shoot it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do your firearm skill to shoot it. I would recommend not crit failing this.
Good recommendation.
Just a regular fail will do.
Okay.
So,
Fine.
boom. And Chip, it's a shotgun. This thing's not more than 15, 20 feet away from you. It's not something you're going to miss. So that failure is not you like having bad aim. It is you shooting to where it was, because the whistle got it moving, and it is now just scrambling right at you, Chip. Let's go to break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. So Chip, this thing is skittering towards you. It is now leaping. I need a dodge roll from you, but let's see how she does against it. All right, she's got a 22 for a hard success.
Come on, dodge.
Oh, against your regular dodge, so she still beats you out. So she launches towards you, Chip, and just four hands, just right under your armpits, right at your waist, and the sack just slaps up against your upper thighs, and the nails just dig directly into you. Go ahead and take 3 damage for me. Where does that put your health?
3 out of 12.
So it takes you down to 9?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so we are back to the top of the order. Both Siobhan and Chip, you have the options of going first, and then it'll be either Ashanti or Vaco. All of you get to go before she goes again.
I don't have anything pressing.
Chip?
I probably can't shoot her off of me, I'm assuming. So.
Not with that shotgun, I don't think.
Let's see here. Can we try to brawl her off and kind of just, like, I guess, well...
if you want to use the butt of that rifle as a brawl, on a brawl roll, I'm totally for that. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. It's better than trying to strength my way out of it.
Yep. Very nice. And her dodge is actually going to be at a disadvantage. Right, and she's going to fail it. So you come down with the butt of your rifle right onto like her neck area and the lower part of her face as she just screaming up at you. Roll a 1d4 for me. And she will take that damage. She still is able to hold on to you, Chip, but you hit her good and just knock her into the chin, and just the blood comes. You see blood just kind of spray out of her mouth as she comes across. Siobhan, is there anything that you want to do, or do you want to give up your initiative?
Is this kind of happening in the doorway?
I'm imagining if you want to be closer to the doorway, you can be. I think Chip at this point is now inside the room.
Okay, this is more into the room. Are the other two like standing up?
Ashanti is standing up. Vaco's on his back. Chip is standing up.
Okay, I think the best thing for me to do to spend my turn is help Vaco up.
Okay. So Siobhan, you kind of push away and just kind of keep your distance as you kind of like skirt around Chip as this thing is just clawing at his chest. You come over. Ashanti, you've turned around and you see Siobhan there, and Siobhan, you grab Vaco by his wrists and you yank him up. Either Vaco or go ahead.
Make sure to yank him up and then stand behind him.
Okay. You pull him up and immediately rotate and put him between you and the action. All right, so Ashanti and Vaco, you can go, and Vaco, now you don't have to expend anything on your turn to stand up because of what Siobhan did. Who wants to go, Ashanti or Vaco?
Well, I think I'm going to go and punch it with my billy club.
Okay.
In the face.
Let's go ahead and do a melee attack with that billy club.
All right.
Chip is kind of standing there like, he's got the gun. He's like, just hit it.
All right,
Yeah.
so Vaco, so much happening. You don't necessarily have your feet under you at this point because Siobhan has kind of launched you up and kind of pushed you as she's trying to get behind you. You come and you swing, and luckily your swing, well, unluckily your swing misses her as Chip and her are kind of wrestling and moving around, but it also misses Chip as well. Ashanti, you see Vaco come up, you see Vaco take a swing at this thing, and it just hits air. You're on mute, buddy.
What I'm gonna do is it still on top of Chip?
It's like hanging on his chest, like a baby Bjorn on his chest.
All right. So what I'm gonna do is it has hair, right?
Oh yeah, long black hair.
I'm gonna walk up to it, pull its head up, and shoot it in the side of the head.
Okay. So we don't need to test the gun, right? Because this is gonna be point blank. How do I want to test this? Let's give me a brawl roll.
Okay. Yeah.
What's the
finally?
Roll the damage on the gun.
All right. Combat gun damage. That's a 3.
Did you roll the 3? Yep, you sure did. You grab the back of the head, and just as it's kind of like launching its sharp teeth to try to take a bite out of Chip's like rib cage, it's like and all of a sudden you yank that hair back, and Chip, you see Ashanti's like shape, right? And you see this thing going as it yanks back, and cold and smooth, Ashanti just puts it right to the temple. Boom! And we just see the brains just splatter up against the wall. Chip, you feel this thing lose its grip on you. Ashanti is holding this thing now by its hair. It's gone limp. The blood is coming down from where the bullet exited. It's splattered up against the wall. I am gonna need one more sand roll. And I'll need it from all of you. Yeah. That's pretty gruesome.
I'm gonna push it.
You can't push sand rolls.
Okay.
Vaco.
Wow. See, Vaco did thing like he's seen too much.
Okay, so Vaco, I want you to add a sand. So
No, thank you.
bump your sand up by 1, and I think that I'm going to suggest it's the relief of this thing finally being taken out. And I just need a D4 from Ashanti, Siobhan, and Chip. So that's
I got
two,
it
2, a 3, and a 4. So let's go ahead and drop our sand by that amount. Ashanti, this thing is heavy, but not too heavy for you.
Okay. I'm just gonna take it and throw it to the side, off a Chip, so he can get up. And then I'm gonna slump down against the nearest wall and just go. What do we do now?
I'm already going towards the kitchen.
Oh wow!
What color is its blood?
It's a deep red, but it's red.
Wait! Don't burn it down. We need evidence. We need to show people what he's been doing. You burn it down, then it's just like, oh, some 4 weirdos came in and burnt down my house for no reason.
We are not weirdos. Chip is now reeling from what he saw, and what little bit of logic he has, he grabs a pillowcase and kind of stuffs it. Will it fit in a pillowcase?
Sure.
Yeah, he'll do that, and then he's got his 5 pounds of shit in a pillowcase and walking around. I guess we're going back upstairs. Because you let us know that there was that basement that you really wanted to get into.
Yeah, but now I'm going to the kitchen.
So Chip, you just like you almost have to turn your head just enough so you can barely and you just stuff this thing into this white pillowcase, and you kind of grab it like a sack of potatoes, and you lift it up, and the blood is just soaking the cotton pillowcase as you're carrying it. And by the time that you get to the hallway, leaving it down, you're leaving just drips of blood. It's just completely saturated the bottom of this pillowcase. Vaco is beelining it down the stairs.
Somebody go stop him. I'm just like so tired. I'm just like slowly just getting up. Like,
I think my action might depend on a thing because I lost 4 out of 40 sanity, which is 10%.
Yes. I need a D10 from you. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah. The exact thing to roll on a D4 for.
Okay.
At least it's not 25%. Or 20%. It's only 10%.
So Siobhan, I mean, this has to be not only the most unearthly thing you've ever experienced, but also the most violent thing that I think that you've ever experienced. And as this all unrolls, you see Vaco, like nothing happened, just take off through the door. You see Ashanti having a somewhat normal reaction of just kind of falling, leaning up against the wall, and just feeling that tinny tingle of the adrenaline starting to drop from his lymph nodes. We see Chip stuffing this thing into into the sack, and as you look around, you know this isn't happening, but it feels like the walls are skittering. It feels like tiny little hands and legs are crawling on your skin, but you're looking at it and you know there's nothing there. But all you can imagine, Siobhan, is just spiders just crawling over you and crawling on the walls, and you're not hallucinating, but you definitely have picked up arachnophobia.
I think what happens then is like the immediate reaction to seeing all this is to like back away, and then like she puts her hand on the wall, and that's when she first notices, and then like the kind of way it transfers is like it's like she pressed the wall and then everything is like kind of crawling over, and she just kind of like she begins like scratching as she's kind of pulling her hand back like really slowly, and then is just like kind of staring and then just like shaking, and then just kind of like she like goes to sit down and then is like ceilings, it's probably on the floor as well, and is just kind of in like a weird crouch, just kind of holding that one hand, occasionally like just staring at it, and occasionally like pulling at something.
Give me a 1d10. Let's see how long this lasts. All right, so it's going to last. It's all last for 2 rounds, which is roughly 2 or 3 minutes. You'll be able to kind of get yourself back together again, Siobhan, in just a couple minutes. Chip, you got this sack?
I lost 3 out of 28 today.
Ooh, okay, so I need a D10 from you as well.
Yep. Doing great, guys.
So you grab this sack, you stuff this thing in the sack, and you stand up. And as it all registers, Chip, the absolute only thing you want to do right now is get the hell out of this house.
Yeah.
Where you going, Chip? Hold on. Oh, yeah.
He'll kind of, as Ashanti's reaching for him, he'll kind of just fog reach back and kind of grab his hand. I don't know if he helps him up much, but it's kind of just, and then lets go and kind of just drags the pillowcase down the stairs and kind of just stands at the front door for a second, wondering where to go next as Vaco is making all sorts of noise, I assume, in the kitchen.
Yeah, and Vaco, as you get to the bottom of the steps, you hear a thump, 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 as the sack is just hitting the steps as Chip is headed down the steps. And you look back and hearing that noise and realize that it's Chip. And it doesn't take long for you to figure out what the hell is in that sack, because you can see the trail of blood from the soaked pillowcase as it is down the stairs. You are at the front of the kitchen.
I go in and start looking for knives.
Okay. You have no
Everyone
trouble.
thought I was going to burn it down, but no, I'm going for knives.
You pull out the drawer and you see a gorgeous set of chef knives. And almost what's crazy is that you for speed alone, you were opening 2 drawers at the same time, and the other drawer are like 4 butcher cleavers. Like, you could have picked any drawers. There's 2 drawers, and both of them are full of knives.
Nice. I'm gonna grab a cleaver and one relatively short knife and a little bit of a bigger knife, because a short knife is faster to stab with, and stabbing is faster than hitting with a billy club. So having a little stabby sounds nice. And then I'm gonna go into the. After I've gotten this, I'm gonna go into the study to look for that journal.
All right, so you run into the study. Chip is standing there, just blank-eyed, and Chip, you're just trying to get the door open, right? And it's locked, but you're the one you're staring at where it's locked, right? But just in the panic, you're trying to just get out that front door. Vaco, you get up there, you see that Chip has dropped the sack. It's laying there next, and Chip is frantically trying to open the door as if he was on the other side of it and couldn't unlock it. You come there, you see the desk that you saw when you first got here several weeks ago. The desk is completely cleaned off.
Drawers?
Yep.
Open.
So you start pulling drawers, and after a couple drawers, you're able to find that leather-bound journal that's wrapped and tied with a leather strap.
I'll grab it.
All right. I am going to quickly look up our weapons here. So I just want to give you damage for that cleaver real quick. Not that you're going to use it.
No, of course not.
Let's see here. Dadgummit. All right, I'll look for it later when we need it.
Yep.
So you find the journal.
Next
Siobhan,
time,
you're starting to get your head about you.
Yeah, so with Ashanti in the room, like, there's a little bit of muttering, but that kind of gets taken over by, like, slow, kind of calming breaths. She finally, like, pulls her hand away from her other hand, like, just red scratches in it, and kind of closes it. And, like, for the first time, looks around. Where'd they go?
I think he's burning the house down. We need to. I'm leaning up against the wall, still slowly trying to get up. I think we need to stop him from burning the house down, and then we need to call the police. You know, I'm the last person want to call the police, but we need to call the police.
Yeah, smart. Okay.
So I guess me and Siobhan are headed down the stairs, and we're going to try to stop Vaco from burning down the house just yet.
And when you get to the base of the stairs, Ashanti, that's when Vaco turns around, armed and ready. You see a butcher's cleaver in one hand and a long steak knife in the other.
It's okay. We're not trying to hurt you. I don't want any problems. We just should not burn the house down yet.
Yeah, obviously.
And then he takes off and is now in the front. He takes off to the front room, and we see him go through and find the journal. As he does that, Chip, you're starting to realize, well, what the hell am I doing? Like, the lock's right there. And that, I think that realization that you are just obviously just kind of freaking out, right, causes you to drop out of your bout of madness. So you no longer have this urge to get out of the house.
Yeah, Chip takes a couple deep breaths, like takes a second to look around him, unlocks the door, and just leaves the sack around, and then kind of joins the others and kind of shakes it off a little bit and says, "What are we doing? What do we need?" And it's still out of it a little bit, but has recovered and at least has opened the door. If they're scavenging through stuff, he'll kind of keep an eye out in the front just in case.
Okay, so we're all together. Do we want to look in the basement?
Yes.
I'm hoping the answer is no, but you are absolutely right.
I just dropped my head like, we would never learn. We would never learn. I try to start reloading my revolver. Put the bullet back in there.
Oh,
I mean, you guys should probably stay back a bit, but
I'm gonna
go down into the basement.
Seeing Ashanti reload the gun, spike something in Siobhan, and I'm gonna kind of run to go to one of the front windows, like kind of open it from the bottom to look out and up, just to see if any lights have come on at the sound of a gunshot.
There hasn't. So you look immediately across, Siobhan. You can see Aunt Sarah's room. Lights are off as everything has been. In fact, in that time, you see a car just drive by, not slow down or do anything.
All right, let's get this over with. Our finished friend has a death wish.
We need to find out what's in that basement.
Do we though?
So you're the one that's saying we can't burn the house down yet, so I guess we have to look into the basement.
If that makes sense to you, let's go. I'm behind you. Literally, I'm going to stand behind you and cover your.
Yeah, stay back a bit.
So Veka, you get to what you know to be the door to the basement, and you open it up, and there's a long staircase leading down. Longer than you anticipated, right? You expected just kind of one story down for it to be the room just below, but it appears to be almost like close to 2 stories down, about a story and a half. So that's the first thing you notice. Right above, there's a naked light bulb with a chain hanging down.
Click.
You pull it, it lights up the entire hallway that leads down. At the very bottom, you can see a door. And the one thing that immediately registers with you, this has not been a dirty home, right? I mean, Corbitt has kept a nice home. Every room that you've been in, whether it was 5 weeks ago or now, the bedroom upstairs, the bed was made perfectly. The furniture was gorgeous. Yet somehow, this hallway smells and looks even cleaner. Almost sterile.
Okay, well, the next thing I really want to do is lift the door off its hinges.
Okay. Give me a regular...
I don't want someone closing me in down there.
That's all right. Let's do a regular strength roll.
No.
Ashanti, do you want to help?
I'll say I will ask if you need any help, and I'll try.
Okay, we don't need a roll if the two of you are going to do it. So
Okay.
Vako's like, ooh. Ashanti comes over. boom, and we and instead of lifting it off of the hinges, what actually happens, Ashanti, is that Vaco, these were just so old and had been there so long that you couldn't just lift the door off the hinges. They'd almost kind of rusted together along the top there. And what Ashanti ends up doing with your help is pulling the hinges off the wall itself, and it's just. So both Ashanti and Vaco, you now are proud owners of a door.
I'll put it away. Start walking down the stairs.
I'll put it in the bag.
I'll put it in my inventory.
So we see Vaco headed down this staircase, this 2 stories worth of stairs. Ashanti, I assume, is right behind.
Yes.
Am I out of place thinking your revolver is back out again, Ashanti?
Yes, sir.
Chip and Siobhan?
I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah. With reluctance and then like a relief, like looking up at the ceiling as we're going further down, just like looking in errant corners. Yeah.
So Siobhan, there are no spider webs or anything. So luckily, Corbitt has made a particular note to keep this in a very, very clean for a leadway to a basement. Chip, where's the sack?
It's by the back door.
Okay. Slowly, cautiously, the 4 of you work your way down the staircase. Vaco, when you get to the bottom, there's a door. And as you reach to open the door, you get an overwhelming, fills your nostrils smell of chemicals.
What kind of chemicals?
Hard to tell. It's one of those things where you're like, that's chemically.
Okay. All right. Chemically stuff. That sounds ominous. Let's open the door.
So you open the door, and there's a light on.
There's the light on.
And as you
It might still be the same system.
As you peer in,
Theoretically.
as you peer in, you immediately look up and you can see several light fixtures along the top of the wall, but they're all naked light bulbs, and there's several of them, and it makes this room extremely bright because the tidiness and sterile nature of the staircases has continued well into this room itself. And as you look into this room, Vaco, it is about half the footprint of the house. So it's a rather large room, and it's got several tables, and the tables are freshly bought, or at least they look freshly bought metal tables that line the walls. On one part of the table, you can see, is this guy a butcher? Because he's got cleavers, knives, saws. He's got a wood block that he has laid on top of this. The wood block has stains on it, and it's the only thing close to that gives you any indication that anything in this room has ever been used. Because the blades that are up against the wall, hanging on the wall, all of these butcher implements are all spotless. All of you, we work your way into the room, and you see along the other wall these huge jars. Each of them filled with different liquids. All of them, some of them are kind of a brownish yellow, some are kind of a reddish tint yellow, some are pretty opaque, others have some translucency to them. For the ones that have some translucency, you see body parts. You see legs, arms. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 in each of these jars. All appendages. The only other door is on the far, far wall, and you can tell by the size of it that it must be like a closet door or something.
Well, I think we should lift this door off its hinges too, just in case. I don't want to get locked in down here.
And the two
Ashanti,
you,
help.
yeah, you and Ashanti have no trouble doing
Yeah.
that. Then this one actually comes off of the hinges without any difficulty. The smell is obviously coming from these jars, right? It's obviously some sort of formaldehyde or preserving chemicals or something. And the condition of these appendages and arms and legs and feet and hands, they look undecayed.
Chip is gonna kind of make his way in, and so it's tables, shelves, body parts, knives. Kind of taking it all in, kind of not looking at the jars, out of an attempt to keep his lunch down, and makes his way to the other door and checks it, see what's in there.
And there's no handle on this door, Chip. You're able to open it easily. It's obviously leads to a storage closet. But as you open it, it's not storing anything. It was obviously built maybe as like a broom closet. So it's not very large. But all of that chemical smell, all of that sterile feeling immediately leaves. Because when you open that door, you get an overwhelming smell. And it's a mixture of smells. It's body odor. It's sweat. It's decay. And it just fills your nostrils to the point, and it's such a contrast to what smells you had in the room that it causes you just instinctively to pull your head back and immediately just cover your face, because it's an overwhelming smell coming from this empty closet.
I will shut the door again to stop the smell, if nothing else. Did anybody else smell that too?
All of them smelled it, and now it filled the room instantly.
You're welcome.
What did you see down there?
Nothing. It didn't look like there was anything in there. It looked empty.
With a smell like that, nothing was in there. Was it dirty or anything? Just.
I think I'm just gonna go in there, see if I start knocking on the walls, floors, seeing if there's any secret compartments.
So Vaco charges over, throws the door open, and again it's just like, Jesus, Vaco. Just the smell again just comes in. Vaco, I don't know if you have a handkerchief or not, but you're going to need to put that over your mouth in order for you not to be overwhelmed by this thing. And you start just hitting the doors, hitting the walls, hitting the ceilings and stuff like that. And when you slam on the back, the sound changes. So it's boom, 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 da, 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 da. And as a laborer, Vaco, you can tell that the thickness of this wall is considerably less. And as you hit it twice and realize, wait a minute, this is different, what's going on here, and you look around and you can see the seams.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's put some weight behind going against this wall then.
It doesn't take much, Vaco. You boof, 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 and it pops right out, and you see it fall ahead of you. The bright light that's coming from the room spills into the closet. It's somewhat obscured by you, but then fills what is just a darkened room, a stained tile floor, and you just can't quite see everything.
Is there a light switch?
There is not. Now, the one thing I will say is not only is the smell a huge contrast, but the smell you got obviously is coming from this room, but filled the closet. But this sterile cleanliness is shocking. The difference now. The tiles on the floor that you look at are stained and discolored. It's really hard from where you are right now to understand how big this room is. Ashanti, Chip, and Siobhan, you can hear this. You hear the doo doo coom, and you can tell that he has done something inside of that closet.
I venture over to see what's going on, covering my mouth with my shirt. So I won't be overwhelmed by the smell, but I did venture over to try to see what's going on, what he actually has done, what he's broken now.
I tear some like a sleeve off the shirt to do a wrap, and then I'll flashlight wielding. Come on through.
So you shine the flashlight, and it's kind of over Ashanti's shoulder and around Vaco, and you're trying to get a view of it with these two big dudes blocking your way.
It's a lot of beef.
And Vaco, you have the best view of this. Once Siobhan has the flashlight shining, you realize that to your right, there's a wall relatively close to this door that you just broke through, right? And what you see is a glass tank that's probably 5 foot tall, big enough around that you probably couldn't put your arms around it. And it's freestanding up against the wall. It seems about 2/3 full. And you can see some sort of piping mechanism leaving from the top of this tank, and that's bolted along the wall and then bolted along the ceiling. You can't quite see where this pipe goes, but you can see that it's attached to the top of the tank. You look in that tank, Vanko. It's about 2/3 full, and the viscosity is like a sludge. You can tell it's liquid. You can tell it's thick and viscous, and it's got kind of a dark crimson color. And as you're trying to piece together what the F this thing is when you see an eyeball float and bop up to the top. I need a sand roll.
Success.
Well done, Baker. Are you just cold as hell right now? Like, how are you keeping your head about that?
Well, I have seen most things that one human can do to another human. So...
Typical capitalist.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. At this point, I realized something and asked Chip if he still has that any bottle of alcohol on him.
Yep. He hands it to you.
I grabbed that, and then I moistened my mustache with the alcohol to avoid so that I would smell the alcohol instead of the terrible smell in the room.
Yeah, and at this point, I have only Vaco having any visibility into this room. I've got Ashanti, Siobhan, and Chip behind him, and Vaco is blocking most of what can be seen.
Yeah, I like to think that Ashanti can feel like a pressure against like somewhere in the middle back, because him being of just kind of Siobhan holding the flashlight, just kind of moving slowly, with just like kind of resting her head. Of just, this is, yeah. I'm providing one thing.
You guys might not want to come in here.
And as Vaco says that, you hear machinery, maybe? You hear kind of a pumping. You hear a boom, 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 kind of kick into the walls. And you hear kind of like a gears grinding against it. And Vaco, as that's happened, some sort of suction is now pulling that sludge up into that pipe. The pipe is opaque. It's like a copper metal pipe, so you're not seeing it there, but you can tell that some sort of vacuum mechanism is sucking this sludge up into this piping system.
Okay. Siobhan, could I have the flashlight, please? And I reiterate, you guys might not want to come in here.
Kind of move it to a level where like Ashanti can take it and hand it over.
I hand it over to him.
You got it, Vaco.
follow the pipe with the flashlight. See if I can find the source.
You're able to do that, and I just need to know where you are. Are you still staying in the closet at this point, or have you gone past this threshold?
Well, I have to check what type the floor is before I step over, because it might be a huge pit or something.
So you staying within the closet, you're able to follow it, but only so far, because this thing must easily stretch 40, 50 feet. So it's beyond where you can go without crossing over into the room.
Yeah, I just want to check that the floor looks solid before I go.
And it is. It is. It's a tile. It's a tile floor. But when your foot hits, you're displacing dirt, right? You can tell just how dirty this thing is as your foot hits this.
Oh, I'm used to that.
So we see Vaco kind of step over, because the bottom of this door that he knocked out goes up to about everybody's knees, right? So he has to literally step over it to get into this thing. So we see Vaco step over it. Ashanti, what are we doing?
I'm going to see, so I can get some room. I'm going to step in as well. So I want to see, even though he said that don't, I want to see what's going on. I got to see this thing to the end now.
So Vaco, you step in, the flashlight shining up at the ceiling, and you can see this pipe has been attached to the ceiling, and you see it going across. So now you kind of turn your body just following this pipe, and the way that the pipe is shaking, you can tell that it's the sludge is going through it, right? And it's being pulled into it. And you follow it and follow it with the flashlight, and the flashlight is bright but somewhat focused. So you're not getting a sense of what's to your left, what's to your right. You're just watching this pipe, almost like you're tracking the sludge as it's working its way. You then, focusing the flashlight up, see the pipe turns down, and by the time your flashlight hits it, you can see this sludge falling out of it.
Into what?
Well, what it falls into. The flashlight follows the sludge, and you see, at first it looks like a huge, fleshy, melted candle of a thing with its mouth up like a baby bird, as this sludge just is falling into it, and it's going down its mouth, covering the entire bottom of its thing. And it's a face, because you think it sees eyes, and that's mouth, and it's in the corner of this room, and it's just got fat folds of flesh over it. You can see that there's appendages that have been attached to it, and some of the appendages are younger and smaller, some are older, like adult appendages. Immediately you recognize 4 or 5 different arms on this thing, and as you go down, it's easily 6-7 foot tall, and it's seated at this point. And you see 2 legs under it as it's feeding on this thing, and the sludge is just coming down it. There's no clothing, there's nothing. It's just bare flesh, and each parts of the flesh, some are discolored, some are not. And the only thing that really comes home is that at the top of this thing, where the head is, there's little tiny baby arms and legs right next to its head. You know what's coming next, right?
Oh, yeah.
They did that.
We need a sand roll.
What? You mean I don't see this every day?
No, this is a representation of the fat capitalist cats sitting at the top, feeding on the work of the less fortunate.
Clearly.
Drinking the blood.
Oh, darn.
Give me a D8. So, what did you start the day with?
I started with 60. I've lost 18 sanity this session.
So I'm gonna need a D10.
All right. D10. Boom.
And one more D10 to see how long this is gonna last. This is gonna last for 10 rounds. And Vaco, or Klaus, I'm gonna let you decide what Vaco does. I'm gonna give you a couple options. But what is gonna happen is you are going to have a hysteric or emotional series of outbursts, and you decide what they are: laughing, crying, screaming. I don't know what you think Vaco's reaction would be, but you are basically overwhelmed with this just expression of just whatever you want it to be. So as that flashlight comes down and you see this sludge going into this thing's mouth, and it's covering and just spilling over it, and you see the little baby arms and legs up by its neck, and just this flesh pocket of folds of flesh, and just what's Vaco doing? What's his reaction?
Well, the first thing that probably happens is that the flashlight drops.
Yep.
And then after that, it's like a few slow steps backwards, which turns into an absolute mad dash. And, well, I think probably Ashanti and Siobhan are standing near the way out, so he's just barreling through them. And
actually, unfortunately, Vaco, I'm not going to let you do that. You are frozen, right? So I'm not going to let you change your location.
Catatonic.
Yeah.
Catatonic. In that case, I'm just going to fall. He probably just first drops the flashlight, then falls onto his ass, and then starts clawing at the ground, like in a mad dash to try to get away, but he can't move.
Yeah, and
only his arms are moving. The rest of his body is totally frozen.
And Ashanti, you see the flashlight drop. You can't see what he saw, and the flashlight rolls, and it rolls in like a circle, right? Because the end of the flashlight's wider than the base of it, and it comes over and it lights up Vaco, and you can see Vaco just and you just see him trying to push himself away, and he's now reached himself up against this tank, and he's pushing against the tank as if the tank was a door that would open.
But buddy, what's wrong? Calm down. What's wrong? What's wrong? Like, can I still see him, or like there's no light?
So it's the flashlight is just kind of rolling back and forth, so you're kind of like flashes of seeing him as it goes back and forth against his face.
So I'm gonna go and try to pick the flashlight up, and then let's ask him what's like shining on him. It's like, dude, what's wrong? What's going on?
And as you shine that flashlight into his face, like even his eyes don't dilate, right? There's no reaction to the light hitting his face at all. And whatever he is doing, it's all happening inside of outside, right? And he's reacting. You see the terror in his face, and in no way is he acknowledging the light, your words, your presence, or anything.
And I'll call for Siobhan's like, something's wrong with Vaco. He's like, he's gone, for lack of a better word, gone mad. And I try to shake him as he's sitting there frozen. Like, Siobhan, get over here. And I like shine the light in his face and try to see. I'm like looking his light up and down, and I just keep asking him what's wrong.
So as you're doing that, Ashanti, I've got the flashlight in his head, and of course Chip and Siobhan are seeing really just Ashanti at this point. You can't really see Vaco, and you've got that on there, and it's as Vaco takes a breath, the screaming is piercing your ears and even making it difficult for Siobhan or Chip to hear anything. But he goes, and as he does that, Ashanti, that's when you hear just the slovenly, just guttural sound coming from behind you.
And I turn real quick and look and shoot the flashlight at it and see what it is with my gun up, because I heard something behind me now, so it's like, what's going on?
And as you turn the flashlight there, I don't know if you had a sense of how far away that sound was, but you didn't anticipate it to be there. So as the flashlight turns, you see this face, and it looks like a flesh melted candle. And it's got these pulled back eyes, and one of the eyes is not fully set in whatever that it has as a socket. And its jaw almost looks like a shark unhinged jaw, just like this, and it's lower than where it should be. And you see a row of just discolored red teeth, and then a second row of sharp teeth right behind it, like a series on a shark. And you can see just this gore coming from its mouth. What you don't see is its two arms coming at you. Let's do that first. So I'm going to have it roll its brawl. I don't know why. Let's see here. Everything's fine.
Everything's good. I got
all right. I'm just going to have to roll it. All right. D100, roll. Okay, you got a 48. Chip, I need a dodge from you.
Chip
Me?
or me?
Or sorry, Ashanti.
Okay.
Okay, just a regular difficulty. So you're going to dodge this thing. So Ashanti, the light flashes on it. You realize just in time before the arms come back, and you're able to pull back, almost knocking into Vaco as the two arms, mismatched flesh arms, just kind of like it was trying to hug you. And it's just sound as you pull back. I do need a sand roll from you, sir.
Yes.
Dude.
Like,
The light is flooded and shining on this chip, and you're just as startled. You see this thing as it reaches and tries to grab Ashanti, and it's just the slug thing flash with the jaw and the sand roll.
These are getting easier and easier to do. All right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Siobhan, you see the same? Can we?
Yeah, I have a feeling it's not going to hold. Or I could just roll an 11 and really keep that streak going. Yeah, let's just roll an 11.
All right. I need a D8.
Okay.
What's that drop you to?
Okay. Doesn't quite drop me to my daily, but it drops me to 32.
32. What is Siobhan's reaction? Chip, cold as hell, like he knew it was coming. Siobhan's reaction?
So, no flashlight. Everyone's like dealing with this. Siobhan is like trapped in this sort of like, I can't just run away from this, but at the same time, I can't fight this. So, more information. Yeah, it's very more analytically and artistically minded than, ability to combat. So there's like, I think the Ashanti and Chip here running and kind of expect it to be going more distant, but she's just running past all of this going on, past the flesh sack, to like head and see like where it came from. Is there anything down here that can help? This is more important. Doing something to help is more important than running away from the problem.
To your shock, Chip, you get bumped as Siobhan pushes past you into this room, and she stops before she hits this sack of flesh and immediately takes a hard left to go to the direction where this thing obviously was coming from. And Siobhan, you head there. I needed like not acrobatics, like an athletics or acrobatics or something like that. Something for sure footing. I don't have the list of skills in front of me. What makes sense on the sheet? Is there anything?
Athletics or acrobatics? I mean,
Let's do just a straight dex then.
okay.
So Siobhan, as you move past this thing, you realize the shape of this thing is it's dragging these legs, right? So it appears to have two of these, its legs are kind of climbing and moving it forward, and it's got like 2 or 3 legs that it's dragging like their tails of that. And there is just this viscous slime that is under it. And you initially, your heel hits and you start to slip and you immediately grab the wall to catch your footing. Ashanti, Vaco, or Chip, either one. Or no, actually, that was Siobhan. Now it's going to have to be Chip, and then it'll be either Ashanti and Vaco. You're still out. So Chip,
I feel like Vaco or Ashanti is somebody who would have like a Zippo lighter or something like that on them.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And Chip is going to look over at all of those jars, know from his chemistry and his schooling and his failed
Distilling
that
he has disappeared.
Your liquor you've got formaldehyde, and is basically going to take some of those jars
Seems his internet
and
cut out.
start tossing them into that.
No, he's gone for real.
So I was able to hear Chip on that. Chip, you might need to, or Jesse, you might need to drop and try to come back, man.
Okay.
But I got what you had there. So you're he's headed over back in towards the chemicals. He's reaching into his pocket, grabbing a lighter, and headed directly for all the chemicals that are in the jars themselves. Ashanti,
I am pulling.
you just barely escaped this thing.
As I'm backing up, I'm raising my pistol and I am pumping it full of lead.
Okay. I notice it wasn't, I'm going to shoot at it. I'm just pumping it in your fingers going like this.
It's a pretty big target.
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do your firearms.
All right, handgun. Let's see, roll here. Yes.
Very, very nice. Roll damage for me.
All right, damage. All right, that's 6 damage.
Very nice. So Ashanti, you just start pulling the trigger, and the bullets start hitting this thing, and it's hitting his shoulders, it's hitting his chest. I can see it, Jesse. Can you talk for me? I want to make sure your audio's coming through. Okay, I can. So I'm going to bring you back into the scene here. Give me just 1 second, because everybody wants to see your pretty face. All right, there we go, audience. Get off my back. He's back. You just unload, and you just see the bullets hitting, and it's really hard to explain the anatomy, LaShawn, because yes, this should be like, if this is the head, then I guess this is the neck, because there's eyes and there's an arm coming out of here, and there's the little baby arms and legs, and you're just unloading, and it's as it hits, and there's just you see the blood splattering. What you don't see is this thing stopping.
So as I'm doing that, I'm also backing up, but I'm backing up. I know Vaco's behind me, so if I'm trying to squeeze past him and try not to let him be in the line of fire as well. I only got 6 shots anyway, so.
Vaco, what were you gonna say?
Can I use my round of insanity to change my just random screaming into screaming random Finnish obscenities?
You sure can. You sure can. All right, this thing is going to try to grab you, Ashanti. Try to get its arm around you, and it's kind of reaching at your clothes. It's doing the same to Vaco at the same time with 2 different arms. So first we're gonna try to do that grapple on you. And that is going to be a regular success. Give me a dodge. You're going to need a hard or an extreme success on the dodge to avoid it. Very nice. Again, so this thing reaches for you, Ashanti, and you, I mean, you're a
Is that
boxer.
boxing? Yeah.
Exactly. You're used to arms coming towards you and them not hitting you. And you, in the process, step over Vaco without knocking into him and kind of get clear of this huge tank. Vaco, let's see if it grapples you. It does not. So Vaco, and you're just it's trying to, right? It gets some clothes, and as soon as it gets its hand on some of your clothes, you're just shaking and pulling, not trying to get away from it, just in this spasm that you're in, and the clothes slip through its fingers. Siobhan and Chip. Siobhan, you are in darkness.
Yes, this is part of the fear that maybe didn't think this part through. So, look, I wasn't just gonna get out of this scot-free. So Siobhan's hearing gunfire behind her. That gives her at least like a cardinal direction to sort of head in, and is still in absolute darkness. Maybe she'll snap out of this momentarily, but is just like looking to find a wall, a panel, like a lever, a flamethrower.
So what is happening during all of this? So I said complete darkness, but that's not fair, and that's not true, because Ashanti is trying to back up, and he's got this flashlight, right? And I'm imagining Ashanti is trying to keep the flashlight on this thing, not that he wants to see it, but he wants to keep track of it. So I want you to just imagine like the lights are flashing around, and it's hitting different parts of the room as you're going, and you're kind of piecing together everything. And what you realize is at the end of this pipe, which is still just spilling this sludge down, there's like a huge, disgustingly stained mattress that it's now falling into and soaking on. And you can see this like yellowish brown sludge that soaked the mattress, and where it trailed and you slipped in, that has led, to where it is now. You see buckets all around this thing. Looking on the walls are a concrete, and you can see water stains that are coming from the top of the concrete, and looking for any type of window or door or lever. And Siobhan is you're trying to follow the light and try to piece it all together. That's all you're seeing right now. Chip?
So what was Chip able to do when I dropped?
So Chip, I have you now back through the closet into the laboratory or whatever the hell that is. So that's where I have you right now.
Yeah, he's going to grab, I don't know, a handful, 3-4 glass jars that he's kind of able to carry.
Okay, yeah. So you'd only be able to carry one, because these things are huge, right? So each of them is like 3.5, 4 foot tall.
One will do then.
Okay, so you grab one off the shelf.
Yep, and walk up to the false wall and kind of launch it into the room away from Vaco and Ashanti, so that they're not going to get hit with this, and just kind of yell, "Guys, get out!"
So we see Chip kind of like set the shotgun down. It's the only way he could do it. So it takes two arms, and he kind of pulls one of these huge jars off the shelf, and he's carrying it. You could tell by the way he's carrying it just how heavy this is. He has to lean his back. He has to lean back on it so that the weight falls and centers on his hips, as his legs just are laboriously moving forward as he's trying to carry this thing forward. And as you get there, you launch it forward. And it nicks the monster, and it kind of goes off of his back. So it does exactly what you were hoping to do, which to go on the other side of where Ashanti and Vaco are. And everybody hears a huge, thick glass break crash. Just and a liquid goes. Ashanti.
Get back
Wait.
here.
Did he just shatter the tank?
No, he took
Okay.
a jar from the other place, from the other room, carried it and just threw this formaldehyde
Okay.
chemical and just
Okay.
broke this huge jar. And there's Siobhan's going to see it. There's just arms and legs just like sliding on the
Okay.
floor.
Well, when you said the crash, that's all I thought he threw the jar at the. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to try to do is, if the monster's far enough away, I'm going to try to like some way hook Vaco and try to get him out without dropping either by the light or the gun, which I know is going to be difficult.
I am going to need a brawl roll. Give me a brawl, which I am
All right.
suspecting Ashanti might be good at.
Yes, I am very good at brawling. Yes.
52. So Ashanti, you hook your arm under Vaco's arm. Vaco is fighting you, but you are much stronger than Vaco. You may not be bigger than Vaco, but you are definitely stronger. And you're able to kind of move away and you start heading towards the door itself that you came through.
Mm-hmm.
It takes some time though, right? You're dragging Vaco, who does not want to go with you, and you're pulling him along. As that's happening, my little baby wants a hug.
Who's he trying to hug?
He's trying to hug you, Ashanti. Can you give me a dodge?
Just to clarify, is this like a baby's body, like whole body, and then everything else, or just the arms and legs? And
Oh.
And that actually is a no. He's so what happens? I'm trying to remember combat in here when they tie, when they both have the same. It goes to the aggressor, right? I think it goes to the acting party. So I think this thing is still going to win. To answer your question, Chip, is you're trying to piece this thing, and I don't want Jesse to have to do a sand roll, so I'll try to keep this somewhat right.
The
So,
audience, please
yeah.
roll a D100.
So it is. Imagine an adult head made of wax that's melted, and it's melted over what looks like a baby's body, and out of the baby's body's back is the rest of all of this flesh type everything else, right?
Okay, yeah. just trying to put together if this could potentially be his kid, sort of. I don't know.
We don't know what he's into. We don't know what he's into.
All right, so he's going to grab onto you, Ashanti, and then he automatically bites you for 4 damage. So as you're pulling back, it reaches both of its arms and pulls you in. And as it pulls you in, your shoulder goes right into this double hinged mouth, and it clamps down on top of you, doing 4 damage. How much health you got left?
7 left out of 12.
So you are now, this thing has got you, right? Your shoulder, the one that's holding the pistol. So it'd be your right shoulder, I assume. If you're right, are you right or left-handed?
I'm right-handed, but I was holding the flashlight first, so I was shooting with my left.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, so let's have it. Your left shoulder, the hand that's holding that, it's got you there. You instinctively have to drop Vaco when that happens, because this thing is, and it's just pulling you back.
Okay.
Chip.
I just looked quick. Combat, the attacker wins on a tie.
That's what I thought.
Opposed rolls, whoever's higher wins. If you're like arm wrestling or something. Whoever.
Gotcha. For like strength versus strength, but in combat versus a dodge, because I remember it was tiered by like success, hard success, and so on and so forth. All right, so Chip, you've already gone. You threw the bottle. This thing went into, so we're back to the top of the order. Siobhan.
Okay. Well, I'm being told to yell to get back. The only thing I see around me that is helpful is I am going to grab a bucket, and on my way back, I'm going to try and shove that over this thing's head.
Okay. So Siobhan, you grab one of those buckets and you're headed towards the door. And I do need a dex check, because this floor is now soaking wet, full of this formaldehyde, and there's body parts that are swimming in it. You keep your foot about you, though. Now let's go ahead and do a brawl check for the bucket.
Ha!
So you're kind of keeping your foot about you, and you take the bucket, and the bucket hits him. Right, and the bucket, it just clangs, and immediately you let go, and we hear the clang of the bucket as it goes. You're trying to maneuver your way around this to come around. Chip
is going to, he sees that Shanti's getting bitten. He's going to grab Vaco. If he needs to step over the threshold, he will. But he will grab Vaco and pull him, grab the back of his shirt, his pants, whatever. Sort of, I don't know how much he's going to fight me, but I'll do what I can to get him over.
Yeah, I'm not going to make you roll for this, Chip. So you're going to grab kind of, because his back is to you. You're going to kind of grab the back of his jacket and his neck, and you're kind of yanking him, and you've pulled him to that threshold, and you're kind of trying to lift him up to get him over that that calf high barrier, right where the door is itself. Vaco, the gun shooting, Ashanti getting bitten, the crash of the glass, all of this kind of like makes you go. Ugh.
Chip slapping him in the face.
Chip slapping you in the face.
Okay. So, yeah. I don't know if I realized that the thing's been soaked in chemicals.
I think that's reasonable that you would get a sense that, yeah. I mean, I think everything is, right. You can look at your feet and you can see that there's like a I don't know, like maybe like a 3 centimeter just lake of this chemical that's now covering the floor. So this thing is obviously in the chemical as well.
Shit. But so is everyone else.
That is also true. No, Chip's not.
Chip's the only smart one.
Yeah. But this thing might get distracted by fire. So I think I'm going to take out a pocketbook and light it on fire and start waving at it.
Nice. So as you kind of get your wits about you, you pull out, did you say a pocketbook?
Yeah, a pocketbook to where I keep notes.
Yeah, you pull that out, you take your lighter and you start doing, and you're as you're getting pulled up by Chip, and you get it lit, and the thing reacts immediately. So you can see the eye that's like falling out of the socket. You can see it dilate open, and you can see the other eye just look as it do it, and you can see it like loosening its grip on you, Ashanti.
All right.
Fire bad.
Yeah. If it lets me go, I'm gonna try to get out of this grip fully and get over the other side of the threshold.
Just give me a regular strength check.
All right.
It won't be opposed. If you succeed, you break free. All right. So it loosens enough that you kind of pull your shoulder out of this thing, and this thing is now for the first time has been leaning forward and aggressive. It's starting to lean back to get away from this fire, the book that Vaco is holding. Vaco and Chip are completely blocking anybody from getting through this door. This is a very, very small portal.
Get out the way.
So what are you doing?
I'm gonna try to barge past them if I can.
Probably the only thing that you would be able to do, Ashanti, at this point is maybe grab Vaco by his lapels and lift him to push him into Chip. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that then.
Just give me a standard brawl. In no way am I fishing for a critical failure.
I am going to use 10 luck points to make that a.
You only need to use 9.
9. Okay.
Yeah. So what's that leave you for luck?
6.
So you grab onto him, Ashanti, and you lift up, and something's stopping you from lifting. And you just happen by sheer luck to notice that his jacket is caught on a nail that was kind of embedded in the concrete. So you take your right hand and you just rip his sleeve right off. So it's like as you're ripping up the sleeve, it rips the sleeve right off of his jacket, and you just lift him up and are like tossing him almost into Chip. And so Chip, you're pulling, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, and just Vaco comes across the portal, kind of knocks you down, Chip. You've got Vaco on top of you. He's holding the book like a torch. Ashanti, you're stepping over him. You've got Siobhan right behind you. The two of you get through. I'm having everybody now in the closet and in the other room. So I think Chip and Vaco have made it into the laboratory at this point. I've got Siobhan and Ashanti in the closet itself. And Vaco, you're on your back on top of Chip, and you've got a burning book.
I'm not very much into book burning, but like what I want to try to do is get it into that room when everyone's out of there. Probably not going to throw it, more like run towards and drop it. So
Vaco, you start to stand and you're like waving, like, get the fuck out of my way, go, right? And Chip realizes like, oh shit, I know what he's doing. So you see Chip kind of clear, and then Siobhan's like, oh, okay. And Siobhan kind of immediately like makes room. And as Siobhan moves, you see this thing trying to creep and stuff its way through the door. So it's like filling the portal, and it's not making its way through yet, but you see that the walls are cracking as its hands are yanking and pulling part of the door edges apart to make room for itself. So right now it's completely sealed that room from you.
Okay, in that case, we need to throw another jar at it.
What if Chip tries to use the shotgun and blast it backwards a little bit?
So Chip, you take the shotgun, you put it right there, dead weight. I just want you to give me the damage.
Right. Let's see here.
Because it's in no position to grab you or in any way dodge or resist this thing, and you're shooting point blank with a shotgun.
Do I just do a roll, and will that tell me the damage too?
Yeah, just do the roll, and then if it doesn't succeed, we'll figure it out. All right, and then you should be able to roll the damage from there.
If you go under combat, it will tell you the weapons you have, and then just roll. You just click the damage, and it should roll.
Oh, there it is.
And then just go ahead and click roll damage. I'll do it.
I think I came through as 8.
Yeah, it came up as 8. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
I just rolled it for. I'll give you the 11. So we see Chip kind of like move his way forward. We saw Vaco kind of putting his arm back, ready to get this book and throw it onto the floor inside of the other room. And when he realized, when Siobhan like cleared out just this, now it's a flesh door just trying to push its way through, blocking its way. Chip just takes the shotgun, runs right up, and puts the shotgun right below where that jawed mouth is, and it's and you boom, and it forces this thing back. The smell of the gunpowder just finally breaks the smell of all of this sweat and decay. And you see it kind of fall backwards. It doesn't fall to its back, but it just kind of slides backwards, and for the first time, no longer completely blocking it. So the only thing between Vaco and the room is Chip.
Yeah. As he shoots that, I think the recoil and just the terror of it kind of sends him on his butt a little bit, and he just, scrambles backwards. Just throw it.
I'll climb over him. I have nothing against putting my ass in his face.
So Vaco kind of shoves Chip to the side, and Chip was already moving backwards, and takes the thing, and we think at first that Vaco is going to throw it, but then we realize that he just puts his hand in the room, and we see in slow motion as he drops the book. And we see the book start to fall. And as soon as it hits the chemicals, we see as it lights up the surface of the chemicals, and we see it running up the body of this thing. So we just see the light, and the hue of the red of the fire just fills the room, and it's kind of like a purplish red because of the chemical. And we see it just kind of, and you hear just this guttural as it starts to light up itself. You guys want to stay and watch?
No.
Light a cigarette off its body.
We
No.
smash cut to the four of you getting outside of the house, outside of the front door that Chip unlocked. Chip's grabbed. Oh, I need a luck roll from Chip to see if he grabbed the sack.
Probably not.
So we see the four of you there. We see all of you like hands on your thighs, just bent over, just and we can see the flicker of the flames as it's is now starting to reach up that stairwell, right, and starting to light up from the basement itself. We hear the music. We'll cut to credits. We'll be back on the other side.
When Arnold and
All right, we're back.
yeah.
So the screen, when the screen faded to black, it played the credits, and nobody in the theater moved because they knew had to be an epilogue. So when the credits finish, we come up and we see a lot of different things in sequence. We see the four of you go over to Aunt Sarah's. We see a montage of fire trucks showing up, and we see the entire house burning in flames. We see Miss Harriet out on her porch watching all of it. There's news reports. We see newspapers kind of hit the table, right, so that the audience can read the newspapers. And freak fire in Newton, Massachusetts. Suspected arson, and then the next one slaps down. Mr. Corbitt moves back to Boston. Prominent citizen of Newton, shuts down his business, and it's just like flashing the newspapers as it goes. No reference to any of that. We cut to Vaco back at his house, untying and opening this journal. And might be a Vaco voiceover. And the story starts with him wanting to learn more about the business and him traveling to India to meet his father. And his father wanted to introduce him to his contacts that help with the import and export out of the East Indies. And as it goes on, it talks about going on an expedition with his father. It talks about him meeting the god. It talks about the god taking his father. Pages flip through. We hear Vaco voiceover going. We learn that he calls this thing Yog-Sothoth, and he made a pact with it, or at least he thinks he did. And the pact was eternal life in exchange for bringing him to this world. And the way that Corbitt thought this could happen is by impregnating a woman. So as we flip through, we find out that he courts a woman, falls in love with her, or gets her to fall in love with him. And in a night where he has drugged her, months later, she's found to be pregnant. It talks about coming home, knowing that she was going to give birth, and him purposely leaving the home, coming back to find the dead wife, the baby, and the nurse catatonic. He knew he needed to hide the baby, and he had already prepared it with the basement. He took her down to the basement and he kept it there. And over the years, he kept it fed. And he learned and experimented about grafting to try to make it more than just this bulbous, amorphous thing that came out of his wife. Slowly gave it ways to eat, ways to move, ways to grow. What'd you guys think?
We saved the world.
So
I knew those capitalists were up to no good.
I know Klaus and Joe have both played Call of Cthulhu before. I can't remember if LaShawn and Jesse had played before.
I haven't played before.
But both of you had played role-playing games before, right? So this wasn't your first RPG. So I'll start with you, Jesse. Have you played anything like this, or has most of your role-playing been like fantasy role-playing, or?
It's been D&D and Star Wars, so this has been very different.
I'd like if there's anything that you like about it, I'd like to know that, and if there's things that you're not crazy about, I'd like to know that. So can you give me your I just got done playing Call of Cthulhu review?
I really like and really dislike how there's like 47 skills. I mean, I think it's awesome that you can have these things like diving or whatever that, you know, maybe it's going to come into play at some point. But I think it's a lot. I like especially in like Foundry and stuff, the dice rolling where it's going to tell you, you know, the hard and what you succeeded on. I think that's a really cool concept and stuff. And, you know, it's easier to get better at stuff you're bad at. I like all of those concepts and stuff like that. The horror, I'm not a big horror guy, so this was totally different. But it was fun. And I think that's where some of it, I think I'm fairly logical with a lot of stuff. So, you know, I was just coming at it like, well, okay, what do we do next? And, and so like when, you know, Klaus and LaShawn and Joe and stuff are talking about all these crazy ideas, I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that. But
yeah,
no, it was really fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Jesse. And I agree with you. I mean, the one thing, I mean, Call of Cthulhu is old, and you know, it's 7th edition, and I think that this is, I think probably the best edition of it. But its bones are old, right? And you see this even with D&D, where you see relics. I mean, you know, the basic role playing system this is built around BRP, you know, and at the time it was made, it was just like you have all these skills and all these things you talked about. And I think what's happened in the last 25, 30 years is we've learned that maybe we don't need all of that, right? Maybe we don't need to be that detailed, that we can still have that experience without that level of detail. So I'm with you, Chip. I don't mind the way I say to people, I don't mind Call of Cthulhu. it would be a very strong word for me to say that I like Call of Cthulhu. What I love is all of everything around Call of Cthulhu. I mean, there's so much that's been written about it, so much that's been written for it. It's so easy to piece things together. Come April, we're going to live stream a basically Stranger Thing Kids Call of Cthulhu, which I cannot wait for. So for somebody who likes to I like to get my ideas from published stuff, right? I like to read published stuff and then use that as starting points or to pick pieces of this and pieces of that. I mean, the garden of Call of Cthulhu stuff that's at my disposal is amazing. But yeah, it's not my favorite system. I'm with you. How about for you, LaShawn? Would you want to play Call of Cthulhu again, or would you want to play horror again?
Yes to both. I am a horror enthusiast. I love horror, reading horror, watching horror, creating horror. When I say creating, drawing, like that. But, I'm a Malifaux fan, so Victorian horror western. I'm into that. I love everything about Cthulhu. One of the points I really love that Jesse didn't like was all the skills. Like, I'm a person who likes to have options.
Right.
I don't think anyone else should have options though, because I tend to notice that when people have options, they kind of like throw the game. Like they don't get immersed in the game. They just like, oh, I can do this, so I'm going to do this, but it doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Like everything we did in this story made sense because we're immersed in the game. But a lot of other folks that I've played with, which has soured me on playing games like D&D or Call of Cthulhu, is that people just do things that don't make sense.
Yeah. And
they're not invested.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
A big part of playing horror is you've got to buy in as a player, right? It is not a genre. I mean, you can play a lot of RPGs to quote unquote win, right? Whereas with horror, it's not a matter of winning. I think you need a buy-in to say that, like, we're recreating something here. We're going to try to create the look and feel of a horror novel or a horror book. And that doesn't mean you do stuff that doesn't make sense, but I think it changes things a little bit. Obviously coming out on the other end, as the four of you did, is ideal. But you go into it, especially with Call of Cthulhu, saying, yeah, I may not make this, right? Yeah. And do it. So, Klaus, of all the times you played Call of Cthulhu, is there something here that was a highlight over the last 4 episodes? So, as you look at the entire adventure, playing with this table, is there something that really stood out for you that if someone asked you, did you have fun, that you would relate to them?
Oh yes, like I found, like, comparatively to the other times I've played, that the one time I've played Call of Cthulhu before this, and also like in general from my RPG background, that this was more cinematic than those plays, and I did enjoy that very much.
Very
I'm a
cool.
big movie buff.
So, Joe, experience-wise for you, we've played several games together now. Blades, Star Wars, this. How different is this for you between the three of them? What is your favorite?
Oh boy, you're gonna ask me to pick my children?
You don't have to. You can say I love them all the same for different reasons.
Yeah. I think from my general experience, and I'll get to your actual question in a second. But, like,
yeah, take your time.
For the horror thing in general, like playing games, because I run a consistent horror campaign, and I've played in horror games before. I played a few sessions of Call of Cthulhu, and what I was very interested to see kind of develop was, in a horror setting, being GM'd by Craig and having people who I have never met, like as kind of what would be like my co-conspirators in spooky horror times. And I kind of, as I have found a trend playing in Craig's games, went into this with, like, I had this idea that I was going to kind of aim for, let's see if I can make someone go crazy. Let's play a creative character who isn't combat orientated. Like, they have a very specific set of skills which I have noticed as a trend for all my other games. So might need to switch that up if I'm ever invited to another game. But this kind of held like a special place of like I am playing a archetype in a horror game, specifically for the Call of Cthulhu mythos that I really liked. And yeah, I more than anything, I super appreciated the kind of camaraderie that came between all of our characters. Like we all cared for each other. Like we were all looking out for everyone's safety, and like what might be perceived as annoying, but was kind of like sort of wholesome to me, was almost that like questioning the group of like, okay, what are we doing now? What like, and that can get annoying from a table perspective of players looking at each other, but it felt like very much in character of like, are we really going to do this?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so with something like this, you don't see, like in real life, you wouldn't have people as decisive. Like in real life, and something like this happened, people were like, "So what are we going to do? I don't know what we're going to do. What you want to do?" Like
everyone wants someone to make the decision for them.
Right.
That sort of weird scenario.
Yeah. Very, very much so. All right. So Blades is coming back. I'm working with Joe and the others to bring back the Umbral Means. I can't wait to play Blades again, partially because I think I'm a different GM than the last time we played. I think there's going to be a distinct difference in our Blades game, hopefully better than when we did before. I feel like I've picked up a lot of things that I didn't have the last time we played. Plus, I spoiler alert, I like Blades. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. A couple other things coming up. We're getting closer to the end of our Mothership run. So if you have not been watching that, I highly recommend it. We're having a ship ton of fun playing that. Forbidden Lands, I love that system, so check that out if you have not. If you like fantasy role playing, it's a very, very distinct thing. The table is great. The characters are great. We're having a ton of fun there. We've got Icons next week, so if you like superhero role playing, we'll have our end of the Icons run will be next week. And you know, I'm really happy like we did this, but it makes me a little sad. We're gonna have to play again. So well, I look forward to all of you guys being at the table again. And for those of you that watched in the chat, thank you so much. I saw the Coda, thanks for all of the bits and everything like that and all the nice words. And for those of you watching the recording, thanks for watching the whole thing, and like, subscribe, and all that noise. Take care, everybody.